Hello everyone, my name is Griff, and today we are going to be going over this month in Dragalia Lost for June of 2021. And as you can see here, this is a little bit of a shorter one, but I do think there are a bit of juicy contents in here, so that's pretty awesome. I do briefly want to go over some of the other announcements that were added today. So as usual, on the first of every month, the shop packs and exchange limits reset. So you can go in and get your limited time packs, or you can go in and get your things like the void battle trades, you know, those kinds of things. I believe Astro Shades also reset. I don't know how many people have Astro Shades out waiting, because like you do one Astro raid and you kind of only get like enough for like a very small amount of I'm forgetting what they're called. The augments, that's what they're called. But another issue that came up is this issue of regarding debuff skill time plus X% ability. Essentially, this was working improperly with bleed and other debuffs, as well as things like Scorch Rend. So essentially, the debuff skill time ability increases the duration debuffs that lower poison, scorch rend, and other resistance, despite the fact that these abilities are not included in its description. When the adventurer with a debuff skill plus X% ability uses a shared skill to apply a debuff that lowers poison, scorch, or other resistance, that debuff is not granted an increased duration. So essentially they're making it so that things that would have decreased those durations, things that you could like lower poison resist, will be affected by debuff skill time. And additionally, when an adventurer uses debuff skill time that applies bleed or a debuff that reduces strength or defense using a method other than a skill, that debuff is granted on duration. So essentially, they're just standardizing it across the board, starting on the 9th. All debuffs that use that percent will be affected. Whether it's skill-oriented, whether it's attack-oriented, whether it's shared skill-oriented. All will have it. So that's pretty good. I think that's a really good fix, and I think that we're going to see a lot of interesting comps due to these changes. I'm hoping that the newest Sensor Dominion, which we're going to see in a minute here, will actually increase this somehow. I'm currently doing Legend Aha Toho, and there's one part of that fight where you get inflicted by Scorch Rend. So I'm really interested to see where they kind of take these tier 2 afflictions, kind of like what they're saying here, that they're going to start monitoring how much you can like debuff the uptime on those things. I'm really interested to see where they take them in the next phases. Maybe we'll see a boss that only inflicts, you know, these tier 2 afflictions. Maybe we'll start seeing units that have tier 2 afflictions. Rather tier 2 affliction resistance. I believe the only one currently that does is Valentine's Chelsea. I believe her passive would technically give her immunity to those tier 2 afflictions, but you know, I don't have her, I can't really test that. But let's get right into this month in Dragalia Lost. And as with every this month in Dragalia Lost, we start with a last week in Dragalia Lost. So, hello everyone, Yuji Okada here, director of Dragalia Lost. First off, as always, thank you for playing Dragalia Lost. I'm again excited to bring you the latest news on what's happening in and around the game this month. Children of Yasudro Invasion event is here. Now, before we do this, I am planning on doing a video going over all of this event once the newest content for it comes out. I don't think much story content will come out since the epilogue actually is already here. Quick impressions of this event that I'm just going to say right now. I like the gameplay. The story butchered probably one of my favorite characters in Dragalia's history, which makes me very sad. So the story's not great in my opinion, but I am interested to see where they take it. So, yeah, I'm interested to see where that goes from here. This is the first of a new type of event in which you'll. Let me restart that. This is the first of a new type of event in which you're up against the clock to defeat waves upon waves of enemies before they overwhelm you. The more enemies you defeat, the more points you earn. When playing co-op, don't worry too much and about might and just focus on blasting through tons of enemies. Jeez, I could not read that paragraph for some reason. So yeah, so the way that this the gameplay works essentially is that as soon as it starts, you just go, and apparently there's just like a bunch of one-hit enemies almost. And then there are enemies that are hit-oriented, like you need 75 hits to defeat them. And you kind of just try to get around as many as you can. The current comp I was using to get all the way to 1,000,000 points could kill about 300 units per like the main run of the event. So that's pretty cool. I think that it's a good event to kind of use different units. You know, there's a lot of units in the game that have these really big skills that don't really matter when you're fighting a boss, because most of the time you'll just be focusing on one thing. In an event like this, you know, for example, Panther's second skill, which is a huge flame wall, can basically clear the entire field in one hit. So that kind of thing is cool to see, and I like that they're embracing this. It's been some time since the story exploring Sylvan culture and traditions, and Cerise is back in the spotlight that drives the event forward. She finds herself taking the Mana Caster over the course of the event. She's also featured by the latest Gala adventure as Sharpshooter Reed alongside... Oh, sorry. She's featured in the latest Gala Dragalia as Sharpshooter Cerise alongside Gala Masco, who has his role to play in Chapter 19 of the main campaign. So yes, the two of these are out. I already made a video going over them, and I will have a summoning video coming up very soon, so I look forward to that. So yeah, they didn't touch more on the second part of this event, so maybe the second part of this event won't be anything at all, but I'm going to wait for the second part to come up before I make a full overview of the event and talk about my feelings on it. So, plans for this month. The Angel Raphael and the Sylvan Isaac, who appears in the Children's of Yaskaduro event going on now, will be featured in a Pride Showcase starting on the 3rd. For further details like their stats and skills, please see the corresponding in-game notifications. Isaac, I'm not too interested in. Raphael seems amazing. I love the design. I love this weird robo hand that she has here, and her character seems to be very like rough and tumbly to correspond with her apostle. So I think it's really cool that they're adding her to the game, and I do kind of want to summon here, but I kind of don't, because yeah. When that summoning video comes out, you understand why. But yeah, I'm super excited to see both of them. I was almost 100% sure Isaac was going to come out. There was a bit of discussion whether Sharpshooter Cerise would be here. If I had to guess, she might be Sparkable on this banner, but I don't think she'll be on Focus. So we'll have to see who's on Focus in this event. But pretty good. I'm assuming this is going to be a light banner. With all the things that are coming up. So plan accordingly. I will make a Should You Summon going over all the data once we have that. So don't worry about that. New bosses will continue to appear in the Trials of the Mighty. Up until now, the players only face a single boss in combat, but the upcoming Shadow Legion trial, players will have to defeat multiple enemies in a larger scale battle akin to an Imperial Onslaught. Materials for unlocking the 5-star adventure Summer of Erica's Mana Spiral will be available on the daily bonus for this quest. Agni Trial and Gene the Arch Trial are coming along, and daily bonus for these quests offer materials for unlocking Galaxy and Galaluca's Mana Spirals respectively. So yeah. I already made a whole video going over the future of the the Trials of the Mighty, but I believe that the Veronica one is starting actually tomorrow. I actually don't know if there's a notification for it, but yeah, I believe the Veronica one, or rather the Verica one, is starting tomorrow. Looks interesting. Her Mana Spiral seems really good. I'm really excited for it for having a new over damage shared skill, because I think that that's really important in the game right now. We'll take a time to get there as always, because usually the first skill is all the way in the back of the Mana Spiral, which I don't know if it was intentional. It's an interesting thing, because I feel like when they planned out Mana Spirals, they didn't plan to release them in this manner, and the order of which you get things is very backwards in my opinion. You kind of start at the third and the the first ability and the second skill, and then you go to the second ability, and then you go to the first ability, and then the first skill. So I think that they should have kind of done it backwards, the way they have it right now, especially if they're going to release them, like, part of my life, you should start at the top and then go down. But yeah, it is what it is. So it does take a while to get to that first skill. I believe it actually takes 3 whole weeks of Trials of the Mighties to get there, because I don't even think I have it on my Goof or my Ellie, who I've been doing for 2 weeks each. So yeah, it's a little concerning, but you know, it is what it is. An Onslaught event will be held in mid-June with Tobias appearing in a fancy getup. It seems he's acting on someone's special orders, but you'll have to pay attention to the event to discover the details. This is Faye Bless Tobias. In the background of his art, which they're not showing here, it shows Mine, so I'm assuming Mine is the one that's giving him special orders. A little interesting that he's an Onslaught event. My prediction for him and for Raphael was that they would appear in an event together, and Tobias would take part in an Apostle event. It's possible that this is still what's going on, but we're not getting a dedicated a possible event, from what I can tell. Then we have 3 small bullet points. Part 1 of Chapter 20 of the main campaign will be added in late June with a new area called the Sacred Tree. I don't know what that means, if it's just a new map in the story, kind of like we get new maps almost every chapter, but it's pretty interesting to see that they're saying that. I'm expecting big things for this chapter. I don't know if we'll get it this month or next month, but Chapter 10 kind of had a turning point in the story. Eden had a redesign. It kind of corresponded with the first anniversary, so maybe it won't happen this time, but I do expect something pretty mind-blowing to happen in this chapter, so look forward to that if you're caught up in the story. A Tavern Check challenge pitting you against flame-attuned enemies will be held. So this is for water, so anything that you get from Legend Aha and Toho will help you here. Water is a pretty strong element at the moment, especially given Galamascula and Lapis, all these other adventures. They seem pretty strong. Next, a new boss, Azura, will appear in the Rise of the Sinister Dominion early next month. It's interesting that they're waiting until next month, so they actually won't be released until next month. From what I can tell, this is a light attuned boss. I mean, just look all around him. He has the things that Thor had all around him, which means that Shadow Adventurers will be unlocking the 6th and 7th Wormprint slots. Super good, super strong. I can't wait to see, adventures like, Gala Alex just getting an extra plus 8% strength, or Grace getting an extra like 10% skill haste or whatever, or buff time. Things like that are just kind of crazy. So I'm really interested to see. And my favorite part about this is the special Wormprints that we get every time. I like seeing the new abilities, and I like seeing the way they tweak the game. Lilith had her debuff that she gave in exchange for strength and HP. The most recent one had the Draconic Revival, which I don't think works as intended currently, or at least I feel like it shouldn't work as it's working currently. Currently, if the mission doesn't have any revives, you can't use it, which I think is really stupid, because that's kind of the reason you'd bring it. I mean, no one really cares about revives, so it'd be a really cool thing if it was like, yeah, even in Legend content, you can revive at the exchange of a dragon. Once per quest. I think that'd be a fair trade, especially since you're giving up a Wormprint slot, but whatever, I digress. But that's the most exciting part for me. Shadow Adventures in Curse and Nihility will be interesting. Grace probably won't even be usable in this fight, so make sure you get up your Cleos or some Americas. But yeah, super interested to see how this will work out. And then we have future updates. Over time, we have found players who want to repeat quests that award materials to level their facilities during facility events are forced to interrupt this loop with an extra boss battle. By removing extra boss battles from the future facility events, both new ones and the ones that are added to the event compendium, and adjusting this distribution of awards, we hope to smooth this gameplay out. Okay, so I like this, but I wish it was handled better. In my opinion, it should have been handled the exact same way the EX battles were in raids, where EX battles used to work the same way as extra battles did in facility events, whereas you do a raid and then you'd unlock the EX battle. When they redid raids with the first anniversary, they changed it so that you got the crystal that you can then do the EX raid at any time, which is what I wish they did here, where it's you unlock an item that you can exchange for a run of the EX harder version of the fight. That's what I hoped they would do, but they're not. They're just removing them, so we'll have to see how they balance out the rewards considering that. We'll make the daily bonus of various quests more convenient to earn by creating one central location in which players can clear all these quests from just one tap using skip tickets. This change will not affect Trials of the Mighty. Interesting. So, if a lot of people say, you got to do all your dailies every day. If I can just press one button and it's, hey, here's skip, you use your 6 skip tickets, you skip all these quests, and then you go, that'd be pretty cool. I might do that, because it might be a pretty good way to, keep up with my dailies and keep my materials going up. Pretty awesome. Hopefully you can mix and match what you can do. Thank you for your continued passion and support for Dragalia Lost. The game will reach its 1,000-day anniversary on June 21st. We'll be holding various events to celebrate this momentous milestone, and thank our players for staying tuned for more details. Now, we're kind of in a difficult situation again, because this month's in Dragalia Lost also didn't mention the end of month event, and the 21st would be just about when this mid-month event would be wrapping up, and probably just about when the chapter would come out. So I could see us getting some pretty big, crazy event to celebrate this occasion. I could see us getting some pretty good login rewards. Maybe a crossover in Digest, or maybe just a big summer haul of information. You know, new summer adventures, new summer events coming out. It's going to be pretty cool to see what we get. The website for the Dragalia album just went live too, and I actually got that. So I'm pretty excited to see that. And I think that it's cool to see this game get to the point where it is now. A lot of people didn't think it would get this far at all. I've always said that, gacha games are nearly impossible to kill. Gacha games that go into end of service have no players, or they have like 1 or 2 players. Dragalia has stayed strong, it stayed relevant, it stayed, making money, making revenue. So I'm really glad to see that, we're getting to these milestones, and I hope the game can continue in a healthy state. But that's just my 2 cents on it. But I'm excited to see what comes this month. I'm excited to see the end of month event. But yeah, it's a little bit of a shorter one, but I think that it holds a lot of mystery just with this paragraph alone to see what we're going to be doing at the end of the month. So then, in conclusion, we're giving these gifts away to Champion Estimates, 25k Eldwater rather. And then the next installment this month in Dragalia Lost will be on July 1st. So yeah, not too much, not too little. I'm pretty pleased with what we're going to be able to get this month. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.